StockPhotoGuru.com featuring Steve Harmon.
Hey, Steve Harmon here, back with StockPhotoGuru.com, and we're on video 4 now of showing you how to start all the way from being a novice in stock photography to be able to manage a professional portfolio of stock images and being able to make a residual income from those images. So this is video number 4. For a lot of you guys, this is repeat information or it's easy information, but if you follow these steps, you will make money from stock photography. So I want you to follow them for me. If you don't really know what you're doing, make sure you follow exactly what I'm saying, and I know for sure you're going to come out to be a success. So this video right now is about available light. In video number 2, I talked about gear. I talked about getting at least having a digital SLR camera that's at least 6 megapixels. I'd go more if you can. A camera that can shoot RAW for sure. Most digital SLRs you can. I'd get a Canon or Nikon and a 51.8 at least millimeter and f-stop lens. That's at least what we want to have for our gear right now. And I have not talked about lighting at all at this point. And the reason I haven't done that is because I want to still keep that investment low. I want you to realize that you can spend about a $200 investment up front and start making money. And I think you'll be able to see, hey, once you make that $200 back, you'll be like, wow, I just covered my expenses. Now I got a camera and I can do other stuff with it. But right now, I'm not going to talk about flashes. I'm not going to talk about strobes. I'm not going to talk about other continuous light sources besides available light, because that's what we're going to work with initially to be able to get a lot of different images without having to invest any more money at this point. Once you start making money, once your portfolio increases, yes, you can start buying things like some cheaper flashes, some strobes, pocket wizards, or other cheap equivalents. But right now, we're going to stick with available light. So with available light, you can shoot so many different images, and you don't have to break the bank at all. Available light's all around us, and that can be daylight. It can be light from indoor lighting. It can be fluorescent light you have laying around. But we're going to talk mostly about daylight because there's quite a few different color sources with those different lights. On your camera, on your Nikon or your Canon camera, you will notice that there's some different white balance settings. If you don't know about white balance, I'm not going to get too deep into that right now. You can go on to YouTube or whatever and just type in, how do I change my white balance? What that really does is you're telling your camera that when it sees something, you're saying that white is white, or you're telling what color temperature that the light is what your camera is actually going to reflect to you. Now, when you're dealing with RAW, you do have some flexibility with being able to kind of tell your camera with like a white picker that part was really, really white, or just the color temperature. However, you can lose some information there. It's not much, but I would still recommend finding a proper white balance. You can set up a custom white balance by shooting something that is white with your main light source. And right now I want to talk about using just one color light source. I don't want to talk about using, like, oh, you got fluorescent light and you got your incandescent light from a light bulb above you, and then you get your daylight coming in. That's really going to give you 3 different colors of light, which is going to, unless you're shooting like a black and white image or something like that, or you're going to convert it to black and white, it's going to create some problems. So right now, let's just talk about daylight. Daylight is a little more blue toned, and your camera should have a setting for daylight. So you can set it on that, or you can set it on maybe like a cloud if it has a cloud on there, which is a little more cloudy setting. If the outside is cloudy, the sun usually means it's bright, direct sun, which is a little warmer. I usually set, even if I'm shooting out unless it's completely warm light, I usually put it on the cloud function there, or the white balance function, because I like it a little warmer for my images. And if I need to adjust it later on in Lightroom or Photoshop, I can do that. Or if you're using Elements, you can do it in there too. So let's talk about daylight. Daylight, like I said, is a little bluer. Set your camera to that cloud setting or something that's a little more of a cloudy day. You'll get a warmer, a little more richer image. And you can shoot anything that way. You can shoot people outside. You can get a cheap piece of foam core or a whiteboard as a reflector. You don't have to buy a professional reflector. Me and Stuart, who are working on this, we bought one of those things that you put in front of your windshield when you're parked that reflects light, and that ended up being a really, really rad reflector, and we got that at a Goodwill, and it was super cheap, and it works just as good as the reflectors I have, and I think it has gold and silver on there, so it's kind of fun because you can get both warm and whatever the color or temperature that you're already using with just the silver. I usually use silver because I don't really like But if you want to warm it up, great. So you can use that as a reflector. If you want to learn more about using reflectors too, I'm going to have some videos. But for now, go on YouTube again. You're going to find out how to reflect that daylight to do it. There's various ways you're going to be able to do that, and I can't in this video tell you all the different ways to light with available light. But it's just manifold, and there's so many different ways of being able to do it. You don't need to buy anything right off the bat. If you want to get your portfolio started, I would say start off with shooting some of your friends and some various poses. It can be in a particular costume. It could just be a friend doing something particular. You can use a light on your kitchen table, which I do a lot. And you can get the laptop out and maybe use like a white card to reflect back some of that light so it gives a little more even. You can have your wife or your girlfriend or somebody sitting in a window holding your cat, and with that 1.8 on your sharp prime lens we're talking about, that's a cheap lens, it's going to look pretty cool if you try to expose for the person in the subject and have some of that backlight just all white coming in. There's a lot of different ways of shooting. You can see different options out there. You can use available light with that fast lens to shoot objects. You can have a bowl of strawberries, which is things like that are going to sell. Various objects in your home that fruit, books that you don't put the title necessarily in it. A lot of close-ups of various things, cups, coffee. There's so many things that you can do. You can look at my portfolio online. You can look at Stewart's. You can look at various people. Just type in like coffee or household item. There's going to be so many different things that you're going to be able to shoot, and you can see that you can do with natural light. And when you have that fast lens at 1.850, you're really going to be able to use that light. So also, I have a video online right now, which we're going to link to below, that talks about how to make a white people call them photo tents, things like that. We make a cheap one with things that of PVC and things we've bought at Home Depot. And if you make something like that, you can bring that outside, and you'll have isolated images. We've found places like Shutterstock really focus on a lot of isolated images. Artists and designers use a lot of isolated images. So if you can shoot on white, you can go on to YouTube and say, hey, what's the cheapest way to make a light tent? I've seen people make one out of just paper. They've used just white paper, and they've folded it certain ways, and great, it's isolated. If you shoot it really kind of wide open, 1.8 to probably 2.8, to depending on really what's going on, you won't even see the psych of the white paper in the background. So I've seen people actually just use a piece of white paper, kind of just do like this, have it taped together, and you can put a strawberry or blueberry or get close on there, or a watch or something like that, and you're already going to start adding to your portfolio on that. So anyway, think about available light. I don't want you to right now think about buying anything more. That's for video 4. We're going to start now moving you into video 5. Again, if you like this video, please like us on Facebook. Leave a comment, ask a question. If you have any tips you want to add for other people, please put those below. So that was kind of a long one, but I appreciate you sticking through it because a lot of good information there. Thanks so much.